Language.
Oh, it'll get bleeped. There's going to be some bleeps in this one. It's going to be good. I think we might have a little bleepage here.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Shall we play a game?
You're traveling to another dimension. A dimension not only of plastic and paint, but of games. A journey into a wondrous land where meeples become real and cardboard cuts like a knife. That's a signpost up ahead, your next stop. The Funk Zone.
Welcome, podcast season 2. This is your podcast.
Oh, that's our new intro right there. That's it. All right, everybody. Well, apparently Paul and I are a little tired this morning, but welcome.
We should probably get started.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of
It's going to be a short one.
the Funkatronic Rex podcast, season 2.
Season 2.
Oh my gosh, we've been having a blast recording all these things. But
We
yeah,
hope you've had a blast listening.
I hope so. I've already had a few people come up to me like, they chose you for the podcast. Like,
What were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
No one
Like,
said that to me, but that's okay because it's
you're-
probably expected.
You're a smarter choice because you know what you're talking about. Oh, well, you know, in most things, game-wise.
No,
at
it's
least.
just because I'm loud.
There you go. Well, you know, I'm not quiet either, so that helps, help each other out there.
That's why he picked us.
Well, I gotta say, it's been awesome since we covered a bunch of the pillars of gaming world and all that stuff.
The pillars.
Do you want to start out with like what we played?
Yeah.
Get us going.
Yeah, we can talk about what we played
Ladies and
this
gentlemen,
week.
What did we play? What is behind door number 3?
All right. Well, I can talk about a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, I know. So last time we met, we played another one of the games that I really enjoy for the most part. Again, I think I've played it. That would have been my 3rd time, but it's Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Wait, no, that was Metal Gear Solid.
In Marvel Champions, you too can take on the role of your favorite Marvel characters and play them as card games and hopefully not lose.
Did you say card games?
Card games. Card games. We are. Oh my gosh, there's so much on the editing floor already. It's so great. Yes, card games. Yes, so Marvel Champions, you get to play your favorite Marvel characters in card
So who was your
form.
favorite Marvel character this time?
Well, my favorite character, I'm sure it's going to surprise nobody, is Wolverine.
Storm.
No, it's Morph.
What happens to a frog when it's struck by lightning?
I don't know.
The same thing as everything else.
Crack-a-pow.
Crack-a-pow! No, as everybody knows, my favorite character in the Marvel Universe is Wolverine.
Can we just
so, yes,
diverge for a
yes,
moment
yes.
on her accent in that movie was so bad
Well,
that she stopped doing it for the next 4 movies.
Okay, I have to say, was there even an accent? Because I
Exactly.
Well, no, it's just maybe a subtle shift of how she pronounces stuff, but it wasn't like she's trying to do
I think she was trying to do
like a South African accent.
Was it South African?
Well-
I thought it was just like,
I don't know enough about the character Storm's like total
Badger
background, but I know
country.
But she is. So Storm is from Africa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What part? I can't tell you. Whether it's Egypt,
Wakanda.
Sorry, it's Wakanda. Yes, the unknown area.
Actually, that might be true.
Can look it up.
But
No,
weirdly.
she's not from Wakanda.
She's
from,
not?
like,
Are you sure?
She's a street urchin from, I think, from the Egypt area.
Right, the Shadow King finds her, or was it?
Oh, I thought Xavier found her as an orphan and blah blah blah. But I think she was trying to do
How the
an
hell
accent.
do you spell Aurora?
Aurora. Raggy. Aurora. AOUORAORQ.
Monroe.
Raggy.
What is Monroe as a last name?
Aurora Monroe? Isn't that her name?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Like Monroe is not an African
Well, that's
surname.
well, it can be
Tribal princess of Kenya.
Ooh.
And an African-American photojournalist father. So that's where the Monroe came from. Storm was raised in Harlem, New York City, and Cairo, Egypt. Mm-hmm. She was made an orphan after her parents were killed in a plane crash into their house. An incident at this time traumatized Aurora, leaving her with claustrophobia.
Oh, very, very interesting.
Anyways.
That's a great read.
We diverged so hard.
Oh, my gosh.
All right.
This is the Funkatronic
So
Rex
you played
Tangential.
Wolverine.
That is correct. I did play Wolverine. I almost always play Wolverine. Now, this is the great thing. Maybe it was a great thing. I look forward to playing
You
it.
actually didn't play Wolverine. I just want to point that out.
Oh, no. Who did I? Oh, no, I didn't. Well, I was going to say,
you did play Wolverine in a sense.
In a sense, yes.
It was a clone of Wolverine.
Essence. So I played Bishop.
Oh, you played Bishop.
I played Bishop, and
that's right.
Your friend, whose
my
name
friend Q
played X-23, I think.
X-23. Yeah. We did have X-23 in the game.
Yes. So I think I started wanting to play Wolverine.
So we were playing Marvel Champions. And
last time.
We had Bishop. We had X-23.
Yeah.
And
you played. Who did you play?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, because he was one of the newer guys.
He was one of the new characters I hadn't played yet. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Now the fantastic thing, Paul, that I love about you is you walked in with a metric fuck ton of cards. Like I love that. Like I heart that when someone brings in a cardboard card box, just makes me like, I'm like, yes. Yeah, I mean, I did not realize how much.
And then when somebody brings in two giant card boxes, two giant binders.
Like, yes,
and
you had so many. Like we like so many trips to the car to bring in your cards. It was great. Like 2 boxes, 2 binders, and I'm like, I thought we were just playing Marvel Champions, and you're like, we are.
Yeah,
this is all of it.
All
and I
of
was
it.
like, geez, all of it, and you're like, yes.
It's so much harder to like piece it out. Like on a piece of me just wants to take like the small amount that we're gonna actually play with and like just travel with that.
Yeah.
But no, it's so much harder to do that and then put it all back in, make sure.
Yeah.
Because I have everything sorted. So
it's basically taking, because I have Marvel Legendary, and that has a lot of cards. Not as many, but it's like taking like I swear Marvel Champions went, oh, I see you, Legendary. Hold my beer, because we're gonna make like quadruple the number of cards and expansions like that. At least that's what it feels like. I don't have all the Legendary ones.
I stopped collecting Legendary when Marvel Champions came out.
Right. Because it feels like they're related. So if you like one, you're going to enjoy the other. Marvel Champions is, it's more involved, a little more complicated. You build decks. Mm-hmm. So it's a living card game. So you can just buy expansions and play them straight up. Mm-hmm. Or you buy all the expansions and you combine and build decks to play with. You build your character decks.
Yeah.
Right? So I was amazed at the sheer plethora of cards you brought in, dude. It was awesome. Like, I applaud you. It was fantastic. I loved you have labels. You have it organized. It was great. Like, I was just like, oh, you got Wolverine. And that's what I was like, I could play Wolverine. Oh, you got Bishop and you got you got this and you got this. I could play. I was honestly like, I don't know what to do. Like, paralyzation of choice or something. So many characters.
There's so many options.
Yes.
I love Champions. So let's talk about Champions and Legendary for a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, as you said, Champions lets you're constructing a deck before the game starts, and then Legendary, you're picking 5 random characters, shuffling them together, and then randomly deck building throughout the game.
Yeah, as you play the game, you build your deck as opposed to bringing it to the game. Which is cool.
Champions killed Legendary for me because in Champions, you feel like you're playing Bishop. You feel like you're taking a bunch of damage, absorbing it, and then blasting it back out. Nightcrawler is like, I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm there.
Yeah, loved it.
You think you're going to attack me? Nope, I'm not actually there.
Right.
Or you think you're going to attack my friend? There's a Nightcrawler in the way now.
Right.
There's a lot of cool stuff happening. And Legendary doesn't have that at all. Like, I never once played Legendary and felt like I feel like I'm playing Hulk.
Right.
I'm playing a card that has the Hulk on it.
Right.
But that's about it.
To me, Legendary has the flavor of Marvel. It's good flavor, but you're right. Because when we were playing it, you said, you said, I really feel like you're playing. And what do you think? And I was like, yeah, like as we're playing the game, the actions and the way the deck is created, because I found a deck of Bishop online. I just built it because I didn't know nothing. But as you play, you're like, this feels like I'm playing Bishop in the Marvel Universe. It's very, very reminiscent. Not just a flavor, not like a hint of Marvel. There's some cool art, cool cards, the characters you can pick. But you go, I would say, Champions, you're going deeper. There's a deeper character build in that, which also translates to a deeper game. It is more complicated. There was definitely a few moments I'm like, so guys, what do I do? I just phrased, Paul and Q lives, I don't know. I've got cards in my hand. And you guys are like, well, play that because it's cooperative. Yeah. Right. It's a cooperative game.
It is fully cooperative. We were fighting against Sabretooth.
Right. Which is awesome.
And that's the other thing is even the villains feel very thematic.
Yes.
You have Sabretooth is out there and he's like in your face. He's attacking you for big numbers. And then every time you attack him, he's just healing that damage that you just did. You just spent all this time and then he just heals it back up.
And he's massive.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're putting the counters down and you're like, oh, we're playing, Sabretooth. And I'm like, he's got like 30 damage. And I'm like, for this part, he's like, for all of it? And you're like, no, just for this part. And then
just for stage 1.
And then he flips and has like 30 more damage. And I'm like, what? How? So this is all in a... It might sound like we're like, what the heck? But I think it's all in a excitement of like Sabretooth is supposed to be hard to take down, as we all know. Like Wolverine and Sabretooth have been going at it for like decades, eons. And
I mean, they're brothers.
Right. Or stepbrothers or cousins or twins separated at birth. I don't know. But I was like, what? How are we going to win? Now, not unlike Legendary, I think just to bounce around and have fun tangentially talking about it is as we do. And you explained this as well, and I think it's similar to Legendary. There are many ways to lose this game.
Correct.
But there's only
most co-op games.
Right. But there's one way to win.
Correct.
Right? So if you don't work together, or if you do this and skip that, you're like, oh, we're on the downward spiral.
Yeah. So if the heroes are defeated,
right,
he reduces everybody's health to 0.
Yep.
Game's over. We usually, once one person gets knocked out, we usually play like 1 or 2 turns, and if we can't finish it by that point, then we just pack it up and start over. If the villain accomplishes their goal, each villain comes with a task that they're trying to complete.
Yeah.
And that's one of my I don't want to say it's a complaint about the game, but it is an interesting design choice where instead of having modular agendas, where you can pick and choose, kind of like in Legendary, you choose the villain and then you can choose a random scheme.
Right.
Instead of being able to be modular, they tie together.
Yeah.
And I understand that that's done from a mechanical perspective. There's a lot of because of that, there's specific minion groups that get added in, and mechanically it'll tie back to what the villain's doing.
Yeah.
So it makes sense from a gameplay perspective, but it is interesting. So Sabretooth is trying to accomplish his task, which is to capture or
kill the senator.
The senator, yeah.
Yes.
Senator Kelly.
Right. Frankly, I just go, you can have him, dude. I mean, Senator Kelly's a jerk.
He's a jerk face. We don't want him.
That's right, jerk face.
So if he completes that, then he wins normally.
Yep.
In this one, though, if I remember correctly, Sabretooth didn't try to defeat his we didn't lose if he completed his agenda. Instead, we lost if he defeated Senator Kelly.
Right.
So we're trying to protect Senator Kelly, and if he attacks us and we don't defend, which a lot of times you don't, because that's that takes actions, and a lot of people don't want to take that action. Then at that point, Sabretooth hits Senator Kelly, so you have to defend.
Right.
Which made Nightcrawler really good, because Nightcrawler is really good at defending.
Yeah, because you just bamf. Oh, I'm here, bamf. Or you put your bamf card on Sabretooth, which you would do like every time. It was great. Every time, like psych, nope. So I know, like I said, I love the tangential stuff, but for people that look at this game and have played Legendary, because I think that's kind of the gateway into it, and go, I want to kick it up a notch.
I would never recommend Legendary to someone now that this game exists.
I mean, I still recommend Legendary. I still talk about it. I still love it because it is a more family friendly, I think, because my kid enjoys Legendary, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to buy many of the expansions, I think, to make Legendary really fun.
Same with Champions.
Right. Which is great.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. But if you have a family, friends that love Marvel but are not don't have like the geek tattoos and like go to all the movies and all that stuff.
Right.
Great game to play with them. Fun. I played it a lot with my old workmates. We would play it a lot between breaks at work. And some of them were like, I know what Marvel is. I know this stuff, but they're not like, oh, you don't understand, in episode 45 and in issue 5 and da-da-da-da, right? So that's why I think Legendary is a very cool game.
It is a cool game.
And then if you do want to kick it up a notch, like Champions is going to really, really, shine in the fact that it really captures a Marvel experience. Much like I think Marvel Crisis Protocol does in a similar way. It's like you build your characters, and when you're on the table, you're like, this feels like I'm playing Wolverine or Thor or whatever. Marvel Champions has that same thing for me, at least. I was like, I really feel like I'm playing Bishop.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, there was a point in the middle of our game where we're playing and you keep getting hit. And I'm like, do you want me to defend for you? You're like, no. And then you hit it and you absorb a bunch of damage and then you're healing a bunch of damage. And it's like, oh, crap, this is you're Bishop.
Right. No, because I looked at you guys, I'm like, so is this how this works? I can't remember all the mechanics right now.
It was his coat.
Right. He has a rifle and armor or something like that. So if you activate Bishop ability, you get to activate the armor or whatever, and you heal damage, and then you get more stuff to return that damage. I know I'm totally like missing the point, but that you get hit, you absorb that energy, you heal, and then you blast. So right before we had to call it a little early because I had to go pick up the kiddo, I got a chance to do that. Like, I'm going to activate and do this, and I'm going to do, like, they did like 14 points of damage or something.
Silly.
Something awesome.
Yeah.
Like, literally just unloaded and blasted Sabretooth. And like I said, I was like, oh, we got Sabretooth. And you're like, well, we're just flipping over to phase 2. Dang it! God, But blasted the heck out of him.
You did.
And then I did a little damage to Blob just to help out.
We did a Blob out there.
Blob got massive.
He had like 2 upgrades on him that gave him plus 10 health.
Yeah, he got up to like 26 health.
It was something silly.
It was great. And Nightcrawler's like, guys, I could, anybody help me out?
It's like, he's not a problem. He's just annoying.
Right.
Wait, you call me Blob? Did you just call me Blob?
Shut up, bub. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, back to Legendary for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I don't dislike Legendary. I enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, like, Champions just does the co-op thing better. It does the superhero thing better. Yeah. It is mechanically, Champions is a lot more. A lot more.
Yes.
By comparison, but I feel like there's better deck building games and cooperative deck building games out there than Legendary. Like, other than
I agree. I absolutely agree.
The Code of Paint, Legendary's not doing much.
Yeah.
And if I want to play a superhero game, I'd rather feel like the superhero than just see superheroes on the art.
Right.
And again, my kid's the same way. I've played both Champions and Legendary with him. He prefers Legendary because it's simpler. He actually didn't like Legendary as much as he liked Thunderstone Quest.
Oh,
Thunderstone Quest.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I can bring it in sometime.
Yeah,
It's another one where I've got a lot of boxes. Thunderstone Quest is a game where you're it's fantasy based.
I like it already.
High fantasy.
Yeah.
There's a town, and then there's a dungeon next to the town, and
there's always a dungeon next to the town,
Right.
right? I mean, come on.
So you're playing through. It was originally a competitive game where you're racing through the dungeon to get points. There's a cooperative version that we usually play. I prefer where basically you can go to the town. It's a deck building game.
Yep.
You start with the same cards, and each player starts with the same cards, and then you buy spells, heroes, and items from the stores in the town,
Right.
and those go into your deck, and then you go through the dungeon, and you're trying to collaboratively team up and defeat the monsters.
Sounds fun.
It is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I own a lot of it because I enjoy it. It from a mechanical standpoint, it doesn't tell a good narrative.
Oh, okay.
For me, a lot of games, especially co-op games, I want a good narrative.
Yeah.
Throughout the game. Like Champions, we've talked about at length at this point, where you feel like you're playing the superhero.
Right.
In Thunderstone Quest and in Marvel Legendary, you're playing a cooperative game. You're having a good time together. The decision points are kind of minimal on the cooperative part in those games, whereas in Champions, it's like, no, Nightcrawler's jumping in the way of the attack, that kind of thing. You feel it has more of those moments. And then another cooperative game, Arkham Horror, the card game, does an incredible job of the narrative, where it's like, you know, I'm playing a card. You're obviously the game itself is built around the narrative and telling the story. So like we played our biweekly Arkham Horror game. Me and my friends that all live out of state. We played it all together last night, as we do, and you know we found our way into this deep cavern beneath the earth, and the cavern extends as far as the eye can see. There's rocks overhead.
Yeah.
It goes infinitely down.
Like
totally blowing our mind at how big this whole space is. And so we're trying to find our way through and find, you know, our goal. And so, you know, we're playing the game, and like there's these lizard people that are living in this area, and they keep showing up, and I keep smashing them into paste with my hammer. And
as you do. Yeah.
And then next thing we know, one of our rich guy that we brought with us, and he's constantly getting money from his family inheritance, and he's using that to spend money on all these favors and have these people go out and do the narrative is he's playing the one character, but his deck is full of not allies, but like people he can pay to do things for him. So he spends $6 on this event. Like in Marvel, where you know the event is a one-time use, it goes to your discard.
Right.
It doesn't put a permanent on the board, but he pays $6 for this event, and he sends people over to there to deal a bunch of damage to those things, or sends people over there to go find clues. And so he's like, he's just spending a bunch of money, and he's constantly getting more money back in from his family inheritance, which somehow he's getting the money back in every round for, you know, deep down in the earth. We don't look too deep into it.
Too close. Yeah, the pigeon delivery system's a little weird, but yes.
Yeah. But meanwhile, my guy is the expedition leader, and I might have built his deck a little bit the way that it's not supposed to be built.
Don't tell me.
From a narrative standpoint. He's supposed to like bring in allies, have actual physical like representations of people on the board that are defending for him and doing things for him and things like that. No, I took advantage of his color pairing. He's blue and green. And so it's basically a green deck, even though he's blue. And then the with a little bit of blue cards in there. And so it turns out it's built around the sledgehammer, which you can spend. I think we've talked about this. You spend the entire turn and deal +5 attack, +5 damage, which basically is a guaranteed one shot on almost anything. And then he just takes as many. He has magical spells that give him more actions. Anyways, my point is like you can play these cards and you feel like you're playing these characters, right? And it's telling a cool narrative.
Right.
And then the game itself is playing a really cool narrative. And then from a narrative perspective for another game that I mentioned it right before we started recording. For my birthday, I got the game Spirit Island. And I'm sure a bunch of our listeners are like, "Ooh, what?"
I'm leaning in.
Spirit Island is currently the number 10 rated board game on BoardGameGeek.com.
Okay, is it a recent game? Newish.
Newish. Okay. I believe 2017. So
okay,
8 years old.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, if it's 8 years old, but it's still top, like it's built up and grown to a top 10, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It was really well received. And that's another game that just excels at narrative, where in Spirit Island, so you're familiar with Catan. Mm-hmm. We've talked about Catan. In Catan, you're doing what? You are, narratively speaking...
rolling... No, you're like basically trying to build and farm and gather, right?
Yeah, you're going to this island out in the middle of the ocean.
Right. To create a civilization, as it were?
Building up a civilization.
Right. Yeah.
You're mining for ore.
Trading with other people.
Cutting down trees. You're trading with people. Right. And you're just harmlessly, kindly building up this island.
Well, mostly, yes.
Colonizing.
Exactly. Colonizing. Yeah. Exactly. In a very friendly way.
Correct. It is, the old English way.
Right.
So, Spirit Island flips it.
Okay.
Where there's an island.
Uh-huh.
Colonists are coming to the island, and they're trying to colonize the island. The native people of the island and the spirit don't like this. They are blighting the land. They're tearing things down. These guys need to be stopped.
Right.
This is not good. So in Spirit Island, you play as a spirit that has been dormant for an unknown period of time.
Right.
Living on this island, and you have the native people, the Dahan, that live on the island, and they and as you play the game, these colonists start showing up. The game starts with some colonists in play, and they're building towns and cities all over the island. And if you leave them unchecked, then they blight the island. Air quotes.
Well, and that never happens. Yeah. Colonies never come in and
absolutely.
pillage and
I mean,
plunder.
blighting is natural. The game starts with a blight in play because a forest fire causes blight, right? Like that's natural. Some blight is fine,
right?
But too much blight to the land can't recover, and so the blight represents, thematically speaking, the colonists coming in, chopping down all the trees, mining all the ore. Leaving the land in a state that is hard for it to naturally recover. And so you play the spirit and you build up the spirit as you play the game. And your goal is to either destroy all of the cities and towns that the colonists are building up. Or, like actual destruction, or just scare them away. And in a really genius narrative and mechanical tie, if you continue to scare them through fear, then it becomes easier to win through destruction. You have to destroy less of them.
Because you're scaring them away, they're not building as much, and it's easier to push out and recover or reclaim.
At the start of the game, if you have to destroy all of the invaders in order to win the game. You have to destroy all of the explorers, all of the towns, and all of the cities.
Okay.
After you've generated a certain amount of fear, which scales per player, you no longer have to destroy the explorers. You just have to destroy the towns and cities. And then a little bit more fear, and you just have to destroy the cities. Their towns can be there. Once the cities are destroyed, thematically speaking, they are scared enough of what's going on this island.
They leave
that they're just going to abandon the towns and just leave.
Right.
And then if you complete the fear deck, then you just win. You've scared them off, regardless of how many cities and towns are left.
It sounds like somebody was playing a lot of Catan. And really loved Catan. And somebody probably during this game made the off-color comment of, what would happen if we just totally bleeped this and flipped it around? Somebody was like, wait, what'd you just say?
Yeah.
Like, what is the opposite? It's the anti-Catan, in essence.
Exactly.
I'm loving all of this.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Dude, it sounds...
It's a very simple game on the surface. Like, learning how to play the game is really easy.
Right.
So you play the spirit, you grow your spirit every turn, and they get more powerful. And then you can play cards, and the cards either are fast or slow. Fast cards will resolve before the invaders do anything. Slow cards have to resolve after the invaders do things.
Okay.
And so you're strategizing together, and you make some really cool choices in the game. And then you play your fast actions, fast powers, and then the invaders do their stuff where they explore to new lands. They build in certain lands that they exist in. They ravage the lands that they're in, and that's it. Well, there's more to it, but. You resolve a fear card before they do any of that. Fear cards are always good. It's a sign of what the fear that you've struck into them has done.
Yeah.
You generate fear by destroying cities and towns, by playing certain cards where thematically you're scaring them. And then this is the game. That's the gameplay loop. You're just growing your spirit, playing fast powers, invaders respond, playing slow powers, repeat.
And this is a cooperative.
It's a fully cooperative game. So everyone plays as a spirit. The islands are pushed together. This is the best scaling game I've ever played from a co-op. I've played a lot of solo co-op games. And some of them like Arkham Horror, for instance, you can play it solo, but really you need to control two investigators. You need to play it as two players in order to have a good time. Marvel Champions plays great as a full solo. One hero. It's a very different game. You have to think about it strategically in a very different way. It's very much about there's certain heroes and or certain villains that are a lot harder in solo or a lot easier. But you can play it full solo and it plays pretty well. Out of the card game ones, that's my favorite. Which is why I have so much of it. Then in this one, if you're playing one spirit, you have one island board and you just play it. And then if you have two spirits, you push the two island boards together, and it's
kind of creating like an archipelago. Oh, I can't say that word. Archipelago, a group of islands.
Okay. Well, no, you're making one island.
Oh, okay.
The islands are connected, and so what ends up happening is at the start of the game, you do make all your decisions based on your part of the island, but you can grow into other people's islands. You can spread your presence into other people's island, and there's at some point later in the game, not very much later, it goes from being your island and my island to being our island. Pretty quickly,
right? Because you're starting to work together. Yeah. Once you start crossing over, we can work together to scare. Like you and I are going to work together to scare off the colonists here,
right? And
then we're going to work together to scare the colonists over here.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right.
From a gameplay perspective, the game is very simple. So in Spirit Island, what makes it special is the spirits themselves. And the reason I wanted to bring it up, other than the fact that I've been having a great time with it, is the spirits are mechanically, from a narrative perspective, incredibly interesting.
So it's not just, so there's each player chooses their own spirit and they all have their own je ne sais quoi, kind of like a hero in Marvel Champions, right? So you go, I like how this spirit plays, and I'm not a fan of how this one, so you can find one that works for you.
Correct.
And be like, I'm going to do the water spirit or the air spirit or whatever they are. lava, death, whatever. But that's
and
cool.
there's a ton of depth into them too. How you grow them, what powers you choose as they're growing, that kind of thing is going to make some really cool decision points. But what I like about it from a thematic standpoint is they really nailed the theme for each spirit. Not each spirit, but most spirits. And while still keeping the game mechanically balanced and mechanically interesting. So one of my favorite spirits that I played early on, I played a couple of them and I was like, the game's okay. It's fine.
That's right.
When I played Eyes Watch from the Trees, my entire tune changed. This spirit. So the way the game works is you put presents out.
Right.
Your presence on the island represents where you are. Your spirit can kind of affect different areas of the island. And Eyes Watch from the Trees excels at getting their presence spread out and then working with the native people, the Dahan is what they're called, to defend the island and keep it safe from the blight. So when the invaders go to ravage the land, instead of ravaging, you kind of defend the land.
Right. They get a little scared. They're not going to be encroach as far, as it were. Right.
Yeah. And then the fear is one of their main mechanics. They're really good at being scary and spooky.
Oh my gosh, fear is the mind killer.
So they're generating all this fear. There were points in the game, and we were playing like a 4-player game, which the game gets to be a lot of 4 players. It really is kind of best at 2 to 3 players.
Okay,
I'd say 1 to 3 even. But a lot of people say like 1 and 2 is the sweet spot. When you start getting into more players, it becomes like mechanically it's still a simple game, but there's so many decision points and so many choices to make that it can be a bit overwhelming. And the game is really wild. I'm diverging again, but the game is really wild at where you think you're going to have like, oh, we're doing great. We're doing so good. These invaders don't stand a chance.
Right.
The invaders just start building everywhere, and everything is just covered in everything. One of the genius things that the designers did for this game, I freaking love it. From a theme perspective,
Right.
Everything that's good in the game, all of the spirit tokens, the Dahan tokens, the player cards, they're all made from paper, cardboard, and wood.
Okay.
All of the invader tokens are plastic. If it's bad, it's not
plastic.
natural.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
It's so genius. But so Eyes Watch from the Trees is just like out there. They're like scaring these guys. They're being spooky.
Right.
And keeping the island safe. And then we're working with another player might be playing the volcano. And the volcano is really weird because instead of wanting to spread your presence out all over the island,
Right.
you're just building one huge stack of presents where it gets really tall.
Well,
and then it starts exploding.
I was about to say,
sending damage
shooting
all over the
meteors
place.
and lavas and hot rocks, right? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. And then you might be playing one of the players loves to play one of the ocean one where the ocean is their power. And so at the coastal areas, they are washing towns and people into the oceans, and they're just getting sucked away into nothingness. And they love playing that. And
That's great.
then there's one where they're flooding the lands. They're like spreading their presence through,
Right.
and it's like turning all of the lands into wetlands. So it does a really cool job at making these different spirits both feel like how you would think a spirit of that type would play.
Right.
Like another one that I've played before is the Worm. The Worm is a spirit that is under the ground, and they're wreaking havoc throughout the lands, and people are scared of it. So it generates some fear, but it doesn't do much outside of the lands that it can affect, and it's moving itself around instead of just spreading its presence overall. And so you're more about positioning where you have presence and moving the presence you have, and growing the the powers in that way. And so I've played a lot with just the simple ones. Again, this is a pretty new game to me. And I played it. So I was first turned on to it. A friend, the first group that I was playing where I played I Was Watch from the Tree, they bought me the video game version on the computer. It's also available on phones. And we were playing 4 players that way, and great time. And that's how it got turned on to me. And I liked it so much that I took all the birthday money I got, and I went and picked up the actual game itself.
Now, is it a kind of like Heat? Is it a core game, or is there a lot like cores and expansions and stuff like that to add to it?
There
Do you know?
are, yeah.
Sorry. He asks knowingly, "Hey, Paul, is there expansions to this game?"
Yes. It's a board game. There's 2 different core games.
Okay.
And then there's 5 expansions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Some of them are smaller than others. Some of them are bigger than others. So what I would say, like, if you're interested, if this sounds cool to you, if this sounds like the kind of game that you be, and again, I want to preface this. It's a simple game to kind of learn once you learn it, but there is a lot going on. It is a pretty deep mechanical game.
Okay. So for people that want to, because I think you're one of them, like, I love the theme of it, but I can play this game and get deep into it. Or you can stay on the shallow end, and there's no judgment here, right? You can just play it and enjoy it and have fun in the shallow end, play around. And then if you go, I want to go more, you can go further and deeper into this game. So it can hit a lot of levels of people who like to play.
I would say mechanically, it's about as complex as like Marvel Champions.
Okay.
And a lot of those mechanically deep games. It's not. I almost kind of hate the theme of it because the direct comparison is obviously Catan.
Right.
And I hate that comparison because if Catan is the only game you know, I probably wouldn't recommend this game. But if you've played other games and you're about midway through the hobby, then it's fine.
Okay.
But I would recommend other co-op games to new board gamers before I'd recommend this one. That being said, it's not bad for a first, an early co-op game. It's just you're going to be going in on the deep end.
Right.
The best way to do that is, and probably the best way to try out the game, is to pick up Horizons of Spirit Island. Mm-hmm. So Horizons of Spirit Island is, I think the retail rate is somewhere around $30. And it comes with 5 spirits. And instead of getting the plastic pieces, you get all regular cardboard tokens, punch board. So it's not as pretty, but and you don't have the modular islands. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's just one board with 2 islands permanently together.
Yep.
It looks more like a traditional board game, but all 5 of the spirits are really mechanically simple. I use simple lightly.
Well, simple to intermediate. You're not
correct. They're low complexity.
Right. Okay, that's a good way to put it.
Low complexity. Right. And that's the one where Eyes comes from.
Okay.
Eyes Watch from the Trees comes from Horizons of Spirit Island. So does the Worm. The Worm also comes from that, I think. Am I right? I'm 99% sure it does. At any rate, in that one, it's all low complexity spirits. It's the full game.
Right.
It's just a lower production quality, and not in a bad way. It's just
for $30,
right?
Like for $30, an intro to a game design and theme. Yeah. If you go, I really love this.
It only plays 2 players,
so it's 2-player version. And if you
it comes with 3 players worth of tokens, though. I don't. Can it play 3 players?
Well, let us know in the comments if you guys have it.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that a little bit more.
I think the point, like, one of the things that I like about that is it's $30, not too expensive,
really affordable.
2, possibly 3 players, and the production quality. I assume the production probably is really good, but
it's still very good.
It's not like I'm getting a bunch of stuff that I need to worry about. And if you like it, you can then go out and get the
regular
part two
base
or the
game,
expansion.
Spirit Island. The regular base game is somewhere around $50 or $60.
Okay,
so about twice as much, and that's where you get the plastic pieces. You get the modular boards, and you get the other low complexity. All the low complexity spirits are split across those 2 boxes. There's some more intermediate spirits in the regular game. And then if you like the Horizons game and you've played it a bunch, there's tons and tons of like replayability in that $30 box. Yep. Then you go get the big game and you start like, you really unlock potential.
Yeah. Now is this, because obviously since we're using Marvel Champions as a springboard, is it similar to the fact where is it like a living card game type thing?
No, it's more of a traditional board game with expansions.
Okay, all right. Now, do you with the spirits? Is it a like? Okay, I got the thing. I built my spirit deck.
No.
Can you? Is there like cards you need from one expansion that you don't need, but it's like more self-contained?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more self-contained. So the only thing I don't like about Horizons and the base game is you get a lot of redundancy. It's the same fear deck, the same powers decks, things like that. So you'll end up, if you buy both, you'll have 2 copies of almost every card, and you don't need that.
Right.
But that being said, the advantage is you get the different spirits, and you get the plastic pieces with the more advanced game and so forth. For the way that playing the game works is the spirits just have a board, and the board will have all of your presence tokens on it, and then as you're growing, you're going to move your presence from your board to that, and that unlocks higher numbers. So as you move a presence from your play cards track, it'll let you play more cards each turn. As you move it from your energy track, you'll generate more energy each turn to play those cards. And then you have 4 power cards that you start with. Each spirit comes with 4 power cards that are unique to them. And those are the 4 cards you can play each turn. Eventually, instead of growing your presence, which you might actually grow your presence, but instead of growing during the grow phase, you choose one of 3 options, and that might be one might be like I put 2 presents out. The other one might be I gain some energy and put a presence out. The other one might be I get all my cards back and I put a presence in a lane that I already have presence in.
Okay.
And so that's how the growth works. And then you're playing the 4 cards, and then another growth option is almost always you get a new power. And when you get a new power, there's 2 ways that it'll work. If it's a low complexity spirit, then you'll have a power track where it tells you what the next card is that you unlock.
Right.
If you're playing with the advanced rules, or if it's a more advanced spirit, you draw the top 4 cards of either the minor power deck or the major power deck. Pick one. If it's a minor power, it goes directly into your hand, and you just now have 5 cards that you can play.
Yep.
And then if it's a major power, those cards are very powerful. They do a lot more stuff. They're usually more expensive energy-wise. That'll go into your hand, and then you have to forget an old power. You have to
So it kind of takes a card slot in your hand.
It replaces a card.
Upgrade powers. Like I have a major power, so I go from a little power to a major power, as it were.
Right.
And become a better spirit.
Usually you take a couple minor powers, and then you take a major power. Then you take a couple more minor powers, and then a major, that kind of thing. It depends on the spirit, though. There's like some spirits where all I want are minor powers, and some spirits I've played where it's like, no, as soon as I can get those major powers, the vital strength of the earth is the name of the earth spirit. They have weird names. They have super, like, some of the names are super metal. Eyes watch from the trees. Yes! Vital strength of the earth. The river surges through. Ocean's hungry grasp.
Yes. Just putting a little death metal in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Like death metal.
Love it. What was I saying? So the vital strength of the earth is they generate a ton of energy, but they don't play a lot of cards very fast because they're this giant mountain that's moving around.
Right.
And so very early on, I was like, no, I'm going to just start grabbing major powers. And I don't care if I have a lot of choices. I just want big choices.
Right. Well, I'm a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want smash.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've been having a ton of fun with Spirit Island. I can bring it in at some point. It is a, like I said, it is a mechanically complex game.
Okay.
But it's no more complex than like Champions, which we just played.
Right.
But it will take some time to play.
Right. And I will say, for me, since I haven't had as much exposure to Champions, sitting down with you guys was pretty good, because I was like, so what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, you would play, you would play, I would play, and I'd still be like, guys. So, what am I doing here?
Yeah, we get into we play so much Champions, him and I specifically.
Yeah.
That we just get into a rhythm.
I totally was like you guys are doing the secret code. All right, I'm gonna play this and wink, and like, wait, is it you guys just did your turn, and I'm trying to watch and learn, like, I do this and this, and I'm like, okay, I still don't. Crap, what do I do? Of course, it being cooperative, I can let you just, like, I have these things in my hand for these cards. I'm thinking of playing them in this order. Mm-hmm. You both go, well, I mean, that's a choice. You could do that. Or you could look at this and how do these triggers interact?
Yeah.
Which, to me, Marvel Champions definitely has the thematic thing of, if you do it in there's no really wrong order necessarily, but there's a better order. Like, no, Chris, what was it? Well, if you do this, you get more cards in your hand, which means you're going to do more damage, which means you can heal more. And I'm like, right? Because for Bishop, for every resource you have in your hand, you can do damage. So he wants to cycle through at least this version of the deck.
Right.
So I activate this, cycle my cards, I take damage, I cycle some cards, and suddenly I have, like I said, that like 10 resources in my hand.
Yeah, that Bishop build you found was wild. It was like almost all resources in the deck.
Yeah, and I was like, so what do I do? And you're like, well, wait for the card. Use the card that says, for each resource you have, you deal damage. I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Let me wait for that. And I think in the notes, I
think there was one time where you tried to play a card. You were like, I'm thinking about playing this card. I was like, yeah, but if you use your gun first, I think it was your gun that deals damage equal to the resources. Just use your gun first and then do that.
Right.
That way you deal a little bit more damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some optimal decision making. I try not to, especially when I'm playing. And this is a really good point to bring up. When I'm playing co-op games, it's real easy, especially for someone that's played a co-op game a bunch or played a lot of co-op games, to do what's called quarterbacking, where you're just like, you should do this. I'm going to do this, and this on my turn. Okay, now you want to do this, and this.
Right.
You want to do this, and this. And so you're just telling people how to play the game.
Right.
Instead of having them play the game. I try very hard not to do that. And I try very hard to kind of let people make their own mistakes.
Right.
And I didn't make these games. It's
totally
just like
made mistakes.
It's just like, it's a cooperative game. If you lose, you lose.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
We had a good time doing it.
Well, that's it. Exactly. But I think to your point of what I see a theme here is, with these games, there is a cool, it's a thematic experience that scratches so many itches, as it were. Like, I'm playing Arkham Asylum, not Arkham, right? I'm playing the Arkham game, or I'm playing the Marvel game, and I am enjoying the theme, right?
Yeah.
I want to go crazy with some Lovecraftian mind-melting stuff with my friends. Right? And enjoy that. And I'm trying to be like, that's a cool idea, but here are your options.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you both did. We're like, here are some options and ideas. And because if you go, well, if you do this, I might be able to do these two things. Or if you do this, I'm doing this. Which allowed me to just, I again, third time playing the game, I'm like, well, I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And a couple times you're like, all right, that's fine. I can still do it. You didn't defeat the henchman that's in front of me, or I didn't defeat Blob that's in front of you. but I attack the main character. And so I think Q is like, well, it's okay. I can attack and do this. Because X-23 was like slicing and dicing. It was so awesome. Oh my gosh. He's like, well, I'm going to hit. I'll take some damage. And I think you're like, wait, dude, are you sure you want to? You're taking a lot of damage over there. And he's like, shh, I got it. Like he'd hit. Oh, guess what? I get to reactivate. He does another more damage. Oh, and I get to reactivate. And I'm like, that's really X-23. Just like snicker, snack. You know, snicker, snack goes the Vorpal blade there. And it'll come around to you and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to bamf. I'm going to put this on Sabretooth. And then I'm going to protect the Senator. But I'm also going to do a couple other things. Again, like having that thematic feel for the game is very important.
Yeah.
Definitely for you, but I think for other gamers, like if I'm going to spend time, hopefully I'm going to get together with my homies, hang out and play a game, the dudes and dudettes, hang out and have fun playing a game, but it's going to be like immersive. Right?
Especially for cooperative games. Because like a lot of like competitive board games, what makes them enjoyable is the, you know, I'm racing against each other and you're trying to thwart my plans and I'm trying to thwart your plans. And those decision points make the game really deep and interesting. Right. In a cooperative game, there's a lot less of those points because the game is limited in terms of if-then statements.
Right.
And so it's real easy for those games to just be solvable to an extent. Designers these days do a really good job at just not making every game solvable. And the thematicness of cooperative games makes the solvability kind of a lesser. It kind of takes it, and it elevates the whole experience.
Right. So, for example, when we were playing Legendary with a bunch of our friends, we'd have work Saturdays and Sundays. We'd have a break between productions, so we'd have time to set up the game, and we would literally play it like every weekend.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have time to take it down. That game takes forever to take down.
Ever? No. It was after the show. Like after this, we come back and we go, oh, we gotta go, and we just leave it up. Unless we lost really quick. There were a couple of times where literally we'd play. We got what's the card that's in the thing? It was like the Master Strike or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we would play like I drew a Master Strike, another Master Strike, a card. So the villain was just smacked us. And we're like, well, that was a quick game. We'll play again tomorrow.
There was a point when I was playing Legendary a lot where because of those experiences, I would just deal out 5 piles of cards and then shuffle the Master Strikes into each of those piles. So that way the game would be a bit more
like paced. You can pick it up and we kind of did that too, like because larger table, whatever. Like, all right, which pile do you want to pick from? Because obviously we pulled a Master Strike from that one. Maybe let's not pick from that one. Let's move to another one. But the replayability of that was very cool. But again, we didn't mind losing.
Right.
Because it was a fun game. We had a great, I still say back then, like a fairly immersive experience of, I want to pick, we all get to pick which hero we wanted to put in, which Marvel hero. Like I'd always put Wolverine in there or whatever. But everybody's like, well, these characters, so we got to use these characters and hire them. But the point of the game wasn't necessarily we have to win, right? It wasn't the first thing. It was the first point is this game is fun to play with you guys.
Yeah.
Secondly, hopefully we win. Right? Like let's hope. And I think that's something that we both talk about a lot in these podcasts is the idea of finding games that allows us to have a great experience with everybody that has great replayability that we want to come back and play again and again. We don't mind losing.
Yeah.
Because we've had fun.
Correct.
And if the game you're playing like, God, that was after playing it 2 or 3 times, you're like, this game like is hard and it kind of sucks. You're not going to come back and play that game very often.
On Legendary, we have an infamous phrase that still goes through our...
There's always those catchphrases, right?
Through our gaming group to this day. We don't play with the person that uttered it anymore, partially because of these types of things. So in Legendary is actually a competitive game. It's not cooperative.
That is true.
It's semi-cooperative.
What's the phrase? It's cooperative. Basically, it's cooperative, but it's also competitive at the same time because your heroes are trying to gather victory points.
Correct.
And whoever has the most victory points is
deemed the winner.
The better hero. Like, you're the one that's on top of the dog pile. You know, I love on the rules. Yeah, you're the better hero, but everybody wins, technically, because the game didn't beat you. Right. So you've won.
Yeah, and if you all lose, there is no winner, regardless of victory points.
Yeah. You're just more winner than the rest of us.
So when we were playing, it was very early on in our Legendary experience. We were playing, and we usually did pretty good about like, all right, I'm going to try and do this build. You try and do this build. So the way the Legendary works is you shuffle all of the 5 heroes you want to play with, or 6 heroes, or whatever. Shuffle them all
depending
together.
On how many players you have determines how many heroes you shuffle, how many henchmen you shuffle into the henchman villain pile. And then you have your main villain, which usually includes a henchman. Right. So if there's just 3 or 4, you only have like 2 or 3 heroes, or whatever. But so it does scale depending on how many players you have. It does. Yeah.
And then you reveal 5 cards from the shuffled pile. And so you might have 3 Ant-Mans, a Captain America, and a Hulk.
Right.
That are revealed. And it's like, okay, this game I want to try and build Spider-Man. This game, and you're going to build Hulk, and you're going to build Ant-Man. And so each hero kind of has their own kind of strategy based on colors and things like that. And so we were usually pretty good about like staying in our lane and cooperating in that way and being like, all right, you're doing the Spider-Man build. I'm going to leave this 2-cost hero.
Yeah, I think I see where this might be going. But yeah.
So that way, you can. And so we're getting close to the end of the game, and we're all playing. And each hero has 1 ultimate card. It usually costs 7 or 8.
Right.
And that card is bonkers for the strategy and critical.
Right. If you're able to get it, you can do some serious damage, and it definitely. Well, 9 times out of 10, it will help the team, and you win the game with that card. Yeah.
My ultimate comes up. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And the player who coined the phrase,
who shall not be named. Yes.
Goes to take their turn, and they're like, okay, I've got enough. Oh, I've got enough. I'll just buy this. It's like everyone stopped and looked at me like, what are you doing? He needs that card. Yeah. Like, this card makes his deck. Like, don't do that.
Right.
And he looks at us all. He goes, I gotta think about endgame, man.
Oh my gosh. No, like the unspoken rule of Legendary is you like, I'm building the Wolverine deck. You're doing this, and you try not to recruit. All right, because in Legendary, you start out with shield agents.
There's some cross-contamination. You have to.
You have to, yeah, because depending on how many heroes are available.
Sometimes all the Hulks are at the bottom.
Yeah,
and so your Hulk build is going nowhere, so you have to buy a couple Ant-Mans to kind of get up there.
Exactly. So you use your shield agents to spend recruit points to buy heroes off the board. So you buy 1, you replace it. And if you have more money, you can buy more. But no, there's definitely been a couple of times where I'm doing, again, I almost always play Wolverine, and there's like nothing. It's all Captain Marvel and this and Hulk. And I'm like, sorry, Hulk. I just need to buy a Hulk.
Right. And that's usually fine as long as you don't buy the ultimate card.
As long as you do not buy the ultimate. Absolutely. Or there's like 1 ultimate and there's 2 like sub-ultimate, like almost really close to the higher powered ones. Yes, there's been a couple of times where we were playing and they're like, why are you buying that? Like, that's my guy.
It does nothing for your build.
It does nothing for you. It is literally a dead card, but there's nothing else.
I got to think about endgame, man.
Got to think about endgame. How are we going to finish this? Oh my gosh, that's you just go yoink.
I'll get more points this way.
Right? Well, that is true. That is true.
So now anytime anybody is like making a suboptimal choice in a game, for any reason, it's like, what are you thinking about endgame?
Sorry, man, I gotta think about endgame.
We play a lot of cooperative games in my groups, and which is fine. It's just what my friends prefer, and I love competitive games, and I wish I played more of them. But that being said, I understand why they want to play more cooperative games. So, so that phrase comes up a lot.
Oh my gosh, that's freaking great.
I'm thinking about Endgame.
Yeah, you got to see how we
And
finish
this was
it.
before the movie came out, so like we.
Oh my gosh, when that movie came out, you guys must have been like, thinking about Endgame.
Yeah,
you want to go? You want to see it? He's like, shut up. Gosh, no, this has been great. Like chatting about Marvel Champions and all the other games that are out there that are similar, because it's a cooperative game, but it's not necessarily a deck builder in game. It's closer to almost like one of those living card games, collectible games, where you build your hero.
Well, it is
deck.
living card game.
Yeah, living card game. Sorry. So it's a living card game where you have the option to build your hero before you show up.
Yeah.
Like you can buy a couple.
Construction.
Right. So you can create your own version of the hero. For example, Bishop has you can build a more shielder protector Bishop versus
where you're trying to take a bunch of damage and absorb a bunch of energy.
Or you just go aggro, very aggressive, which a lot of I think red cards, because again, red is aggressive. So in Champions, there's like, and this is the thing I was trying to remember, is as you build your deck, there's the keywords they use, which is like, what is it, protector?
There's 4.5 aspects.
That's it. Is it
aspects is what they call them. There's aggression, which is red. Justice, which is yellow. So aggression usually excels at how you win, defeating the villain.
Right.
Justice, which is the yellow cards, those excel at thwarting the villain's plans.
Okay.
So that's, which is how you lose. So those are like what keep you alive. There's protection, which is the green cards.
Right.
And protection is all about protecting your allies and keeping people alive, absorbing damage, healing. They're the true support character. And then there's leadership.
Okay.
Leadership is the blue cards, and those excel at everything. They're just the best.
They're the leaders.
Leadership specifically is focused on allies. So you want as many sub characters as you can in your deck. Marie Hills, and you might play like Cyclops and Storm, since they weren't in our player roster. You might play those cards in your deck, and then you're playing those out. And then they can do a little bit of like, I buff people, or I make my allies better, or I cheat big allies into play. They do a lot of that kind of stuff. But blue, especially if you have a smaller collection, blue tends to be the strongest of the colors, because it does a little bit of everything. Allies can thwart, allies can fight.
Right.
They're the best at blocking.
Okay.
So because if a villain is attacking you, you'd much rather lose an ally than take damage.
Right.
So they're literally the best at doing everything. But that being said, the game's totally fun with and without leadership.
Right. And it, like, despite my ineptitude at like how to build decks, but you can still just buy the character pack and play the game. Like, you do not have to right away. You can play that a few times and get that character and be like, oh, okay, I see an upgrade I can put in here. I can see more resources, or I can change things around. But you don't have to, right? Which is great. Again, I think we mentioned this when we were talking about living card games. The idea that you can just get the set and play your favorite character, and the decks are built that you get that flavor.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Correct.
And then you go, all right, this is my third time playing it. Let's change it a little bit. Let me experiment with a little deck.
Maybe you want to play with the fifth aspect.
Right.
Which is the pool. So the Deadpool character and expansion introduced the fifth aspect.
Right.
They're pink cards because pink is funny. And they're all about it's a lot of the cards that are reflavored. So like there's a what's the card that always gets a giggle out of me?
It's a Deadpool card. So is it Chimichanga?
So there's cards that are like, named a certain thing,
right?
And then the Deadpool card is like a play on that name, and then the card it's got like tape over it and Deadpool is written in,
right.
The changes
so
to the
again,
card.
Very thematic, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall all the time.
Correct.
So he's like, hey, you're playing a game. Hey, why don't you play this card? Hey, psst. Yeah.
So the pool is just wild and crazy nonsense that makes no sense. It's a lot of dealing damage to yourself and having no plan.
Right. Well, that's kind of Deadpool.
It's very Deadpool.
Yeah.
So those are the 5 aspects, and there's a lot of replayability in there.
No, it's good. And even though we did have to cut our time short with that game, I felt again it was very immersive, very thematic. Like it's going to play if you're reading your favorite comic book character. Mm-hmm. If you play the game for that, you're going to get that flavor, which is great. Exactly. I would highly recommend anybody who's interested in that. I would say it is fairly deep. Like I'm sure reading the instruction manual is probably required for champions. Because there are, and your tokens are awesome, but there are a lot of like, how do you set up your turn? What tokens go where? How much damage? How to sequence things? Right, and it is a card game.
So, one thing that card games are notorious for, Magic, Star Wars Unlimited, etc., is they usually have a pretty small like how to play the game thing because all of the rules are contained on the cards themselves. And also, there's usually a huge living document of rules that goes over like edge cases and how cards interact.
Right.
And that exists. There's, I think, online. The FAQ for the how to play is like a 10-page document. It's pretty short. And then the rules reference, which explains what different keywords do in different points of the game. That's like a 30-page document.
Right.
And then the FAQ is like another 50-page document.
5,000 pages. Because people
FAQ and errata. Yeah. So there's, there's a lot to it.
I don't know. I thought I do have it at home. I have a couple of expansions because I saw them on sale. I'm like, I'm going to get, like, I don't play it yet, but I've got Wolverine at home just because, again, I collect Wolverine stuff, and I was like, I'm going to get it. It was like one of those ding and dent sales. And I've got the base game, and I think I just picked up the Mutant. Oh my gosh, Mutant Genesis?
Mutant Genesis.
Is that the one with... the reason I got it because I had the 2 characters. That's not the one with Nightcrawler in it, is it?
No, that's the one with Colossus and Shadowcat.
That's it, because it's the Apocalypse box.
No.
Is it, which one? Why did I get it? Why did I buy it?
That's the box that has Master Mold and Mr. Sinister.
Okay.
If I remember right?
Oh, okay. Right. Now, the newest one out, because I see it across there, is it the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that just came out?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just came out.
Okay.
I haven't played it yet. The heroes in the box are Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Apparently, Maria Hill is stupid busted. And Nick Fury is a disappointment.
I mean, it happens.
These
sometimes.
are early reviews that I saw. I haven't looked much at it.
Okay.
To be honest, I try not to do a lot of research for Marvel Champions because I know I'm going to play it, and so I might as well
buy
keep
it and
some surprises.
Yes. Yeah. Now, there's one that you got recently that you're just talking about, or am I thinking about another game that you're like, I just got this new expansion? We were talking about earlier, like right when we sat down to start recording. You're like,
Spirit Island.
Oh, Spirit Island. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there, so speaking of broken, are there characters in Champions that are like, guys, this thing is so screwed up?
Yeah. There are broken characters in Marvel Champions. There is specifically one character that I will not play with.
Like if someone says, I want to play, you go, no.
Correct.
No. Put that back.
And almost every single time I open up the box and I'm like, which character do you want to play? And they're looking through all the characters. They almost always pick it. And it's not even like a super duper popular Marvel character either.
Right.
It's just like it's the one people gravitate
kind of drawn towards. All right.
Yeah. But it's not like your big names. It's not like Iron Man or Captain America. So there's a number that are stronger than others and weaker than others. Captain America is really strong. He's real versatile. He's kind of good at everything. Agent Venom is pretty good at. A lot of the good ones are the ones that can both deal with threat and deal damage at a reasonable rate. And it's usually kind of baked in and they can do a lot, or they generate resources. Like
Yeah.
Spider-Ham from the wave of heroes, the Spider-Man wave of heroes.
Right. Yeah.
Spider-Ham is one of the best characters in the game because he just generates a bunch of resources really easily.
Oh, okay.
And so those characters tend to be pretty powerful. And then Ant-Man's really strong, but then other characters tend to be weaker that have bad rates on how much cards cost, and their abilities aren't super strong. So like Wasp is one of the worst characters in the game. Valkyrie is really not very strong in the game. Not bad. They're fun to play, and you can play them. They're just a lot harder to play well, and they're not as good at things as other heroes. Hulk and Thor were infamously bad in the game at first, but with a larger card pool after packs have been released, if you own all of the different packs, there's new cards that kind of turn them back on and make them more powerful. Right.
Which apparently you do because you own them all.
I do, yeah,
I mean,
because
Again.
I love the game. It is the game that hits the table more than anything else. Like, Q will come over and he and I will sit down and we'll like, what do you want to play? And we'll play a new game every now and then we'll almost always go back to Marvel Champions for a few months.
Yeah.
Michael.
Hey, Michael. Question for you, Michael.
The mic can't hear you from over there.
I know. We got a really quick. Michael just rolled
Chris
in.
had a question about Marvel Champions. Okay. Chris, what was your question?
All right. Is there, we're talking about funky characters and what you should get. Is there any character that's like just dumb broken?
No.
Which character do I not let you play?
Yeah. If anything from what I've seen, I think Doctor Strange is probably the only hero that would be considered broken.
Just dumb, broken. Just oh my gosh.
There's a few other ones. Spider-Ham is pretty up there.
Yep.
And I don't know many other heroes, but I know it's those two for sure.
I love it. Like, okay, you are banned from Doctor Strange, but he's so no, zip it. Nobody says the doctor word. Okay, that's awesome. Cool. Thanks. Hey, a little guest special appearance from Michael.
Yay. I said Michael's allowed to play Doctor Strange as long as he doesn't pick any aspect. He only uses basic cards. And we did that once. He was still busted.
So like his base deck, like nothing crazy, or just like you were just only gray cards or whatever.
Only gray cards.
Oh my gosh. And he was still like, hold my beer, guys. I'm gonna motor through this.
So what makes Doctor Strange really powerful is a couple of things. One, he has a side deck of spells that he plays, and his deck kind of interacts with that side deck. And the side deck kind of does everything. So like I said, the stronger heroes are really good at everything.
Right.
But they also are good at locking the villain down. So there's builds for Doctor Strange that you can do where the villain's just never allowed to attack or scheme. And so you end up just winning because the villain can't act.
Right. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And you're like,
and
that's it.
Dormammu's just locked in a time loop while all the other heroes are taking care of the game.
Okay.
So yeah, Doctor Strange, he's really cool. He's a lot of fun to play. I'm not saying don't play with him and don't play him in your games. It's just for my games when I play the game so much that I have a soft ban on just Doctor Strange in our games. Or if we are playing, if we're playing a scenario that like we've been banging our head against the wall, we just can't beat this villain, we really want to, or we want to play on super hard mode, then it's let's bring in Doctor Strange because we're gonna win because Doctor Strange is just that good.
All right, well, before we wrap it up here, with Marvel Champions, are there with the base game? Is there like? I mean, you might have already answered this, but for me, it's like if I get the game, are there like 2 or 3 heroes that aren't included in the base game that you would be like, if you get these heroes, it really adds you can add a couple cards, but like they really, really add to the game. Because I'm also thinking of like Marvel Legendary, where if you get the base game, it's good, but if you added the Dark City expansion, that frankly makes that game that much better, and you don't need the other stuff, but those two create.
You really needed the base game for Marvel Legendary, the original Marvel Legendary base game, really needed Dark City to be a real game.
And I'm not saying we need that these guys need to make it a real game, but it's like if you get the base and like a couple of these guys really opens up the game that you can really start experiencing what the game is about.
Yeah, that's one of the big complaints about living card games is like I mentioned Hulk, Thor, and Valkyrie earlier. So like Hulk and Thor were notoriously weak because they were just overcosted. Like it costs too much to play their cards to get the effect that you get.
Yeah, no.
And the Valkyrie pack, Valkyrie is one of the least satisfying heroes to play, but her pack of cards has all of the fixes for Hulk and Thor.
Oh.
So there's a few of those for that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would not recommend that if you love Thor, you have to go out by Valkyrie. I don't think you need to. Marvel Champions is really, really good about having a good even distribution of cards across the board. Everyone has something to do and has a lot of fun. And every single pack adds a couple of cards, if not just the hero itself,
right.
that elevate the game. So to answer your question directly, the answer is the hero or villain pack that interests you the most, that gets you excited.
Yes.
You there's enough of the game. As you play the game and you acquire more of the stuff, you get more options and more interesting things. But at the end of the day, the game is all built around the heroes and the villains, and you really feel like you're playing the hero and you're playing the villain, regardless of what cards you put into the deck. So the stuff that is the most exciting to you is the best stuff to pick up for that game.
Exactly. I totally agree. Again, having only played it a couple of times, I would absolutely agree with that. Grab the base set and like, I want to play Cable. Love it. I want to play Scarlet Witch. Go for it. I want to play Blob. I mean, you can, but or whatever.
You can't play Blob.
He's not there yet?
He's not there yet.
Oh!
The only X-Men villain you can play as of right now is good Magneto. White suit Magneto.
White suit.
And I haven't played him yet.
Oh.
I have him.
But you haven't played him
He is
one day?
next on the block.
There you go. On the checklist.
Yeah, he's a newer hero. One of the newest heroes. So I haven't gotten a chance to play him yet.
Well, I'm surprised you got him because your card collection is fantastic. So jealous, yet it's daunting and jealousy at the same time. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You don't need to own everything to enjoy the game.
Right.
I own everything for this game because, again, it's the game we play the most.
Right.
It's the one that we go back to the most. I tend to, a lot of games, I tend to pick up like everything I can for them. I don't think that people should do that. I'm fortunate to be in a position where I can do that with my day job. But again, for most people, just buy the stuff that interests you, buy the stuff that's exciting. We talked about Spirit Island. If what we talked about with Spirit Island is interesting to you, there are a lot of expansions. The expansions add a lot of cool stuff.
Right. But you don't have to.
Right,
you don't have to get them.
You don't have to. Pick up either the base game or Horizons, depending on what your budget is. Those are both great places to start. You can play through those games 100 times and still not be bored of them and still not feel like you need more. There's enough stuff, especially in the base game, where it adds a lot more difficulty stuff.
Yeah.
Levers to change how difficulty. I've played through the game. I've only ever played on the easiest difficulty so far. And it's easy. Like, I'm winning most games I play of it. But there's a ton of levers where I can increase the difficulty. And then the expansions add more of that. But you don't need that stuff. Play through the game a bunch of times, enjoy it, and then start adding the expansions one at a time. Play through those a bunch.
Especially if you have like a gaming group, like, hey, I'm going to bring this new game in. Let's just play it a couple of times. Let's really get a feel for it, enjoy it, and then maybe somebody. Cause that's what we did. Like, I got the base game, but a friend of mine would get the expansion, and then another friend would get another expansion. So we would all have a little stakes in it, but we'd all be like, what do we want to play with? Do we want to play with everything or just the base game?
Right.
So you have options. No, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, you don't go with what you think is cool. The rule of cool, right? What is cool? I love Thor. Get Thor for champions. I just want to experience this. What's it called again? Spirit Island. I just want to experience Spirit Island. Get the base game.
Yep.
And play it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And let your guys, let your dude and dudettes enjoy it. Well, as you all know, like obviously, Michael showed up here.
He's here.
So our time is coming to a close for this fantastic episode of the Funkatronic Rex podcast, brought to you by FunkatronicRex.com.
And,
I don't know where else
Funkatronic Rex retail store.
And the retail store, which we are here.
Funkatronic Rex podcast
That's
brought
right.
to you by Funkatronic Rex.
That's right. Shockingly enough, it's in the name. If you read the card, it explains the card.
What?
I don't know. Well, Paul, it has been fantastic. Obviously, always having a blast chatting with all this stuff. If you guys have enjoyed this, please post in the comment section. Let us know on the Discord. And I think you posted something that we're going to have a AMA. Is that an Ask Me Anything?
Ask Me Anything.
Okay.
So we, I haven't had the free time in my personal life to put it together yet, but we are going to probably by the time this airs, we should have a question and answer form available where you can ask any question you want. The plan there is we want to bring some of the original cast members from season 1 in and do a big, huge recording where we're all sitting together and asking listener questions, whether they're about Chris and I, or what our plans are for the podcast, what our favorite games are, questions about things we've talked about so far in season 2. Or one of the big reasons we wanted to do this is questions about season 1 cast. Where are they now? Why aren't they here? That kind of thing.
Right.
Let you guys ask those questions.
It's the
that are
reunion
bothering
show.
you. Yeah.
Everybody loves a reunion show.
Exactly.
Oh
it's
my gosh.
Episode.
Yes. Well, Paul, awesome as usual. I think we'll try this again next week.
Hamburgers.
All right, everybody listening, thank you so much for hanging out and letting us be your hobby buddies or work buddies or a podcast you listen to while doing whatever it is you do out there in the real world.
Chore buddies.
Chore buddies, exactly. Folding that laundry, playing some games even. And we will catch you guys on the flippity flop.
Flippity flop.
Bye.
Game over, man. Game over.
Let's play.
Shall we play a game?